I'm gonna just be sure that the live is working. I'm gonna just be sure that the live is okay. Alright, this should be working, so I'll let this open. So welcome guys, it's gonna be, I think, yeah, okay. So welcome to the first live that I'm doing. Basically, I'm gonna do, before to start the live, I just want to explain to you guys what is the objective behind those lives. So I've decided to just started to do some live stream just every week, so at the end of every week, so most likely on Friday night or maybe on Saturday or Sunday, just to analyze the global market, so the financial world, and see with you guys if there are stocks that you want to understand, and how can we predict, and we will see together where I personally see the market going through the future years. So we will see that together, and that's why I like to do some live stream, because obviously there is a possibility with you guys to just to speak together and just to communicate together, to be able to see if there are, for example, stocks that you want me to check out or anything. So first of all, I will invite you to go check out my different social medias to be aware of all the different lives and all the different events that I am preparing for the future, because I'm consistently doing some for example, some announcement on my different social media. So I invite you to go and check them out. So let's now begin just with the market and what happened in the previous weeks. So obviously we know that with the big tech companies, so with the GAFAM and the big tech companies, we've seen that their earnings came out 3 weeks ago. And since that point, we've seen that the 2 past weeks have been pretty, let's say, rough for most of the tech and most of the growth stocks, because notably because of the inflation and the fear coming from the inflation to the investors. So that's been an important thing that happened, and that has an impact on the investors and how they are seeing the future for the stock market, and about the stock market, but also on the crypto world. Because in this live stream, I don't want to stay only with the stock market, but I want also to analyze and see with you guys how does the crypto market will potentially go in the future. So, and yeah, just before to start, also I wanted to say that I'm gonna do a short live today, because it's my first one, obviously, and I want to be able to really understand how the live and how YouTube live works, because I'm not used to it and I'm just trying to learn at the same time. So don't judge me too hard. So now I took some watch list over here of stocks and of crypto that I want to watch with you guys. So first of all, let's just take a look at the global market on the stock market. So first of all, we have the S&P. We will take a look at the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones. So to understand it, let's put it on let's see on the 5 years stamp. So here we have the global market, so the stock market on a 5 years period. We see that since the big crash happening in the March 2020 with the pandemic, we've been in a really positive pattern, so in a really bullish market. So since that point, there has not really been any big correction, and since I'd say March this year, we are really in a bullish market until we hit the earnings, actually the week after the earnings. So we see that here, since 1 month, there has been quite like an adjustment on the market over here, and we've seen that since 2 weeks ago, the market has been adjusting, because obviously the inflation came out and made the people kind of scared. Because I'm gonna take a look at some of my stocks over here. I'm just gonna take a look here. Okay. All right. So now I'm just when we okay, yeah, here. So when we take a look, can we see on, let's take a look, for example, yeah, at Tesla. I'm gonna take Tesla because it's quite a big tech company, and it's gonna be a great way to see how the market has been hit by the inflation, by the fear of it. So when we take the market, well, actually Tesla in this case, we've seen that Tesla was really on a really bullish move since the pandemic. So it took a lot of value, and we've seen that since the beginning of this year, Tesla has really been more on the bearish market. So it's really adapting well, actually on the situation, because it was pretty much, I think, in my opinion, obviously, it was overvalued when it was around $900. And we know that Mr. Elon Musk loved to use Twitter. So he also decided recently to go and to make some different comment about notably about the Dogecoin and about different crypto. And one thing that I wanted to share with you guys that has had a certain impact also a lot on the crypto is this tweet from Mr. Musk, which said that basically the Tesla didn't actually wanted to accept the Bitcoin and wanted to wait, because I think that they were saying that the Bitcoin was too, yeah, okay, increasing a use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining. So they had some kind of they weren't, well, actually Tesla won't accept the Bitcoin yet, because for the environment they are saying that it's not good. So with this news, let's just take a look at the Bitcoin now. So which is the biggest, let's say, the biggest crypto at the moment. So Bitcoin, we can see that since, let's say, 1 month, the Bitcoin has went from almost 60,000 to right now at 45,000. So it lost 15,000 in less than 1 week. So this tweet has had a really big impact on the Bitcoin and on the value of it. So that's super important to understand that. And we can see that the Bitcoin is not the only one that has been impacted by the news, for example, of Twitter, and also by the inflation, because the Bitcoin is like I'm trying to find an example to illustrate it to you guys, but the Bitcoin it's like let's say it's like the god of the crypto. So it's the main and the most important crypto at the moment that is on the market. It doesn't mean that in the future it will stay the same, but at the moment the Bitcoin is like the best crypto, the most important crypto. And the impact of it, if we take a look, for example, at the Ethereum, which is I'd say the second biggest crypto at the moment, we can see that since 1 month this has been really in a bullish mode, the Ethereum. So it went from 2,000 to almost 4,050 and around that point, and now it's around 3,500. So it has had an impact on every crypto. The fact that Mr. Musk tweet on that, and tweet on the fact that they didn't want to accept the Bitcoin, and also the fact that some people, for example, with the Dogecoin, if we take a look at the Dogecoin here, we see that here on the 1 month chart, we've seen that it is peak around last week in Saturday, if I'm not wrong, yeah, in Saturday last week, just before the SNL, which was a show where Elon Musk went. And at that show, people thought that the Dogecoin would go probably to $1. However, with this appearance from Mr. Musk on this show, it has the opposite impact. And personally, I'm not investing into the Dogecoin because I don't like the fact that all the value coming from this crypto is coming from one person on Twitter that has all the power of it. So I don't kind of like this gambling. And personally, as I told you in my previous videos, I really want always to invest into some stocks where there is some fundamentals and where there is value and where I know I can potentially do something. So I'm not saying that investing or putting some money in Dogecoin, because in my case I don't consider that putting money in Dogecoin is investing. It's more about like a little gambling, because there's a big risk and big reward possibility. But personally, I am not a big fan of it, so I'm not gonna put a lot of money in that, for example. But we've seen that with last weekend show where Mr. Musk was, well, it had an impact on the value of it. So like the Bitcoin at the moment and all the crypto is really volatile, as well as the market, the global market. So presently, I would personally see the market being on a bearish pattern. So on the future, potentially, when, like, I'm gonna go on the Dow Jones now just to share with you guys. So when we see the Dow Jones, we've seen that right now it, and all the market, it's not only the Dow, but every market are really higher, way higher than what they were in the past. So we just take a look where how much they gain value every week. So it's, they gained some value, but they didn't gain as much as, for example, between 2020 and 20, let's say 2022, where it gonna takes, or 20, like at the moment actually in 2021, we see that like the market is super overvalued at many places. So be careful. I would say personally, what I'm doing, I'm just keeping a lot of liquidity potentially, and I'm investing some of my liquidity as well into some dividend stocks where I know I won't lose much. I'd say lose much of potential at the moment, where some growth stocks at the moment are really overvalued. But with dividend stocks, I will receive every, for example, month a certain passive income. So I think that's a great way and a good way to take a look at the moment, even if I know that in my previous video I was telling you guys to well, that I was trying to invest a lot more in the growth stock. At the moment, I'm trying to keep a much more liquidity, because before the crash of March last year, in February, I knew that, and even in January, I actually knew that something was going on, because I watched the news. I was in my class at school, and I saw that people in China were, there was something in China going on, and the virus was spreading around Hong Kong, and I remember around Japan, and it began, I think, to went to Europe a little bit. So I've decided to see for the future, and I kind of knew that there was something coming on. So right now I'm telling you guys that personally, okay, this is my point of view, I think that there will be a readjustment, because right now we can't go, like, the market can't necessarily go to 50,000 at the moment. I don't think so, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't hold to your position as well. So sometimes it's good also to hold to your position and to see what's gonna happen in the future. So on the tech stock, actually there has been a big sell-off since 2 weeks, but I see it as a big buying opportunity that you can take, and you can just try to buy, because when you see that the market is like selling off of, let's say, 20%, well, I see it as a discount. So it's a 20% discount. It's like if you're going to shop, for example, you're trying to buy some clothes, let's say, so you have, let's say, 20% of discount. So it's a good time to sell, to maybe buy some clothes, but at the same time you could potentially wait a little bit more and maybe have 30% of sell-off or 40% of sell-off of discount, I mean, or you can potentially also have 10%, or even it could increase, the price could increase. So it's hard to predict, but personally, in those kind of times, I'm trying to keep some liquidity, and it's something super hard also to do, to keep the great amount of liquidity, and even big companies doesn't necessarily know how to do that and how to keep this liquidity, I'd say, in their bank, and how to manage it. So it's pretty hard, and I'm seeing it as at school, but sometimes you gotta take a little bit more of liquidity if you feel more safe with it. So it's all on your decision at the end of the day. So after it, if we take a look at one stock that personally, I'm just gonna go on my portfolio, my watch list. One stock that I'm really watching at the moment also, because it's a tech stock, but in my opinion, it's really the most undervalued stock. It's Facebook. So, okay, over here. And so guys, I just also wanted to not do the live too long. So maybe I'm gonna stop the live around 8 p.m. or maybe 8:15, but I don't want for the first live to do 1 hour or maybe 2 hours. I don't want to do this much, this live as big as that. So first, on that point, I wanted to see with you guys Facebook, because Facebook is actually a stock that is still super undervalued on the tech stock, and I think that at the moment it really is the tech stock that is the most undervalued. So when we see right now, obviously it's at its highest point, but when we take a look at something really interesting is the EPS, so the earnings per share, so the amount of earnings that you could do per share. So and you multiply it obviously with the P ratio, it's giving you your price, but the P ratio is quite not too high, because if we compare it with Tesla, you see that there's a big difference, okay? And we see also that the earnings for Tesla is only $1 for almost $600 per share. So maybe Tesla could be a good idea. And like as I told you earlier, you can't time the market, so you can't say I'm gonna buy this stock at the moment and I'm sure it's gonna go up, or I'm sure, for example, it's gonna go down. It's impossible. No one has like a time machine or something like that, so you can't see forward and you can't see in the future. But when we take a look at Facebook, obviously I've seen recently that I think in Germany they've banned, I think, WhatsApp or something like that. But the news, well, actually the prediction are very positive for Facebook, and I could see the stock, as I told you in my video on Facebook, I could see potentially the stock goes to maybe not before 2021, because I think that there will be a readjustment, but for sure in 2022 I could see the stock goes to $400, and it takes patience obviously, because if the market, for example, is readjusting and technically you are losing some value on your stocks, but if you sell those stocks, technically you will lose. But if you keep them and you hold them on the long term, if you have do your own DD and all your research on the stock, technically you're not losing money, because you're holding to your stocks, and as soon as you're selling, you're losing or you're gaining. So technically, if you see that your stock is, or it's an advice that I'm giving to you, but technically if you see that one stock that you have is losing some value, but you see that there is a big potential to it, for example, NIO, this has been a stock that I've been investing, and it's a little bit my risky stock, I'd say. So it's like the stock where I invest. Oops, I don't know what happened. Okay, I'm gonna retry. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. I'm just gonna go here. But NIO is a good example, because at the moment the price is almost at $30. My average price, I actually average it, but right now I think it's around $36 per share, something like that. So I own some NIO. Where are you? Okay, you're not there. I don't know why it's doing that. I can't search. NIO. I really don't. I'll go see there. NIO stock. All right. Just gonna stop losing time. Okay. So NIO, you see that right now the stock is really on bearish pattern. So you see that it went from almost $63. So it was kind of high, but at the same time, compared to Tesla, it's quite affordable. But both NIO and Tesla are linked. So at the moment, Tesla is at, I think, we saw it earlier, but $550 50, I think, around that point, and NIO is around 33. So potentially, if Tesla continue to adjust, I think that NIO could continue to adjust as well, and maybe it will go to 2025, it will dip to there. But I think there is big potential on NIO side, because on NIO, okay, here we have it. They have construct. I don't know if we will see it in the actualities here, but NIO, I forget, but it was, I think, I tried to, okay, no, but basically they were creating, and they add some big shops and some big shops. I think it was in Northland, in Norwich. I forget where it was. It was in the north of Europe, but they are beginning to just expand their companies so over China. So this is, in my opinion, a great way to prove the investor that the company is doing something, for example, with their money. Because as I told you in my previous videos, when the company has some earnings, and after, when they take all their expenses and they are subtracting them to the earnings, well, you have the retained earnings, and those retained earnings basically can be used to give some dividends, or in a growth stock company like NIO, they can use it to make the company take value. And to do that, for example, they can create some others business, or they can actually try to buy some new equipment, or I don't know, like keep liquidity. But they, in the case of NIO, they used their money and they went and opened some new shops around the world. So I think that this is something really interesting in that company, for the fact that at the moment the price of the stock is quite low. If you compare it, for example, with Facebook and with Tesla, or even Amazon and those big tech companies, but you see that there is a potential to it, and there is some high reward, high risk, I'd say. But compare, I'd say, to Dogecoin, NIO, in my opinion, is safer, because it's not based only on one individual person that will dictate if the stock will go up or low. So this is really interesting to see with the NIO. But as you can see, guys, like with the big tech, I can try to show you Amazon. Okay, I don't know why it's not working now, but in any case, with the big tech, this week, what has been a great not a great perspective, but we've seen that in the two past days, the tech has been in a great momentum. So if we take, for example, this time, let's take Amazon stock. So we see that it adjusts. This is the adjustment that has been happening since 2 weeks, but since 2 days, yeah, it's been taking some value. So it's like not totally in a bear market, but at the same time, I think that the correction is not over. So right now, I'd be careful. If I were you, if I wanted to invest in the tech stock, I'd be careful. But at the same time, if you have a long-term vision, you can try maybe to buy some different stocks where you want, so the company that you want, and just say, for example, in 5 years, I'm gonna hold to them for 5 years, and in 5 years, I'm sure it's gonna go higher. So to do that, you can take a look, for example, at the financial. What I do usually to analyze my stock, I will take a look at the financial. Why is it not loading? Okay, yeah, okay, it's NIO. Maybe if you go, so NIO doesn't have sometimes a lot of information, because technically it's like it's not an American company, but it's not normal why it's not working. I don't know why it's not working, but take a look at the financials, the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow. It's super important to understand that, and to take a look at the revenue, the expenses, the debt also is super important to look. And you can also take a look at their assets versus their debts, their profit, and all their retained earnings. It's also super important. Okay, I don't know if this will work. Okay, so now we have also the analysis is super important to understand as well. It's some estimation sometimes. So you got the earnings estimation for the years and the quarters to come. Here we have them. So the average estimation. You have the earnings also, the revenue estimation. So this is important to understand. The EPS, as I told you earlier, the earnings per share. So the growth estimation. So you see what is the potential growth to the company that is predict to happen. So always try to aim and to invest in company as well as you understand and as you can follow through time. So this is super important. And now I'm kind of I don't know why my Yahoo Finance is not working well, but okay. Here it's an article. I think it was okay. Yeah, this was an article about Elon Musk, as I told you earlier. What was the impact of his tweet? So we've seen that together. But if you want to check it out, you can check it out. But it's really the impact of one man with his Twitter, and we see that there has been a big impact from it. From Mr. Musk using his Twitter and using his social networks just to as an impact on the value of the crypto. So this was a great article for it, but I don't know if we can take inflation fear 2021 impact on stocks. If I can share with you guys an article from the inflation, what I was telling you. Okay, so this was a great article. I think Wall Street drops led by tech stocks. So I think it will explain it well. Okay, so we've seen, because to understand that also the big companies in America and the big companies from the Dow Jones, S&P 500 and the big indicators are mainly some companies, some of the biggest American companies, such as, for example, as we see here, the Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Tesla, Netflix. So a lot of different big companies like that, and those companies can be also very volatile and are kind of linked together. And we've seen that this week and last week as well, because people were fearing inflation, and sometimes when people fear inflation, they will go and invest in gold and into the places where are more, I'd say, defensive. I don't know the exact term in English. I know the term in French, but I don't know in English what is the term. But it's more in defensive places. So gold is a great way. Silver is also a great way. So all those places, and dividend stocks, and also bonds sometimes. So maybe the bonds will lose some value because people will invest more in bonds. So we've seen that here. Okay, the yield on benchmark US, they are talking about it session price index. No ticked up session. Okay, so it was around 1.63 percentage for the yield of the benchmarks, which is what I was telling you, the US Treasury, so the US government, so the Fed in the USA. And yeah, so there has been quite an important impact from the fear of inflation, because at the end of the day, it's the consumer and the investor that will have the impact on the market. So if people they want to invest, but you invest a lot, and people and people in general invest a lot, well, the stock will take value. That's normal, because the offer and the demand are two big things that affect the market. But for example, if you decide, I'd say, and if there is a big impact, for example, if you see that Apple is going to justice because, I don't know, like one of their cell phone or something, one of their new phones will explode or something like that, so they will lose a ton of money because people will go to they will sue them at the court. So you need to understand that the global situation will always have a big impact on the market by influencing the investor, because at the end of the day, it's the investor that will buy or sell the stock. And if you see that there are bad news on the market, people will go and boom, sell all the stocks or sell a big part of the stocks. So now we've seen that people are afraid from the inflation because the government took a lot of debts through the past year, and we've seen people investing a lot in the past year, which made the big index fund and the Dow Jones and stuff like that went crazy. They went crazy through the past year. You see that they were around 23,000, and they gained more than 10,000 in 1 year. So this is insane, because we are still in a pandemic, and it's not like the global economy is not completely normal at the moment. So right now, guys, always be careful on the market. I think that it's like the important word I'd say of the live, and I will free you, and you can I will stop the live, but the important word I'd say to you guys is to be careful in the market at the moment, because there are many people trying to invest, for example, into let's say the Dogecoin and stuff like that. But we see that through the past years and through the time, people that want to get rich fast doesn't really succeed. And as Warren Buffett said it, people are not the big majority of people are not getting rich because they want to get rich fast, but the great way to get rich, or to put a lot of money on your side and to be sure to be okay, well, is to do it on the long term. So always keep that in mind. It's super important that you don't put all your money. I think, well, actually you can do what you want, but this is the I'd say the big important thing that you need to keep in mind. Don't all put your money in one place, and in place like if you put all your money, for example, on the Dogecoin, for example, you can obviously you can win a lot of money. I saw recently a dude that almost become, I think he actually became a millionaire from Dogecoin, but he didn't want it to sell. At the same time, this is super risky, but with taxes it could be a good thing. So it depends, because taxes would take, with capital gains, they will take 50%. Well, here in Canada it's 50% of their gains and will tax them, but in the US I don't know. But it's actually a good thing sometime to diversify, because if, for example, I'd say if the crypto goes well and the stock market goes bad, well, at least if you had invested a little bit into crypto, well, your portfolio will go maybe not a lot higher, but it will like balance everything. So sometimes keep in mind that diversification and not putting all your money into one stock or some troll stocks or some stunk like Dogecoin is not necessarily the best way to go if you want to become rich on the long term. So I think that's gonna be the end of the stream, because I didn't want to make it too long. If you guys have questions, I will let you ask them actually in the chat if you have any question. Thanks, Matt, for the comment. And so, guys, tomorrow, next week, I'm gonna try to do another live, but potentially I will try to do it maybe more on Saturday, because I will not be available on Sunday, so I'll try to do it on Saturday. So it's been 30 minutes, so it's quite a good live. So I hope you guys will have a great week, not only on the stock market, but on your daily life. So I wish you a good week for this week to come, and stay safe, and yeah, that's pretty much it, and I'll see you next week. And there's also a new video that will come potentially, not maybe on Saturday. I don't know if maybe Saturday or next week, so depending, I will see. But I'm preparing a new video on crypto money, so I'm preparing it to compare the different crypto together. So it's gonna come soon on my channel, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll let you go, and have a great week. Bye.